Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're getting into something that, well, hospitality expert Maurice calls a real secret weapon for restaurant owners.
That's right. We're talking about beverage service. Excellent beverage service.
Exactly, and Maurice's whole point is that it's seriously underused sometimes.
Think about it this way. From a business angle, Maurice points out that just one simple, really well-served drink, that could be the start of a lasting customer relationship.
Like someone just stopping for a quick coffee.
Yeah, exactly. They pop in for a coffee, maybe, but they leave feeling really looked after. So much so they become a regular, they tell their friends. That's the kind of power Maurice is highlighting here.
It's pretty amazing when you frame it like that. And the numbers, Maurice digs into the numbers too, right?
Yeah.
From his food and bev background.
Oh, absolutely. He points out that, on average, beverages make up something like 30% of a restaurant's revenue.
30%. That's huge. It's not just a side thing.
Not at all. It's a massive chunk of income. But often, it gets treated as secondary, like the food's the star, drinks are just there.
Right.
So, look, for all you restaurant owners listening, our mission today, really following Maurice's lead, is to figure out how to make every drink you serve a win, a positive moment for your customer.
It's more than just making people happy, it sounds like. It's good business sense.
Definitely. It boosts the bottom line, builds that loyal customer base. And Maurice says it really starts with, well, just understanding why drinks are such great allies for your restaurant.
Okay, so let's dive into that first point. Maurice kind of challenges the idea that people only come for the food.
Yeah, he does. And it makes sense when you think about it, doesn't it? How often do you pick a place because of the drinks? Like, oh, they have amazing craft beers, or their cocktails are supposed to be incredible.
Or even just a great coffee reputation.
Precisely. Maurice brings up Starbucks. I mean, they built an empire not just on the coffee itself, but the whole feeling, the experience around it. It's about the emotion drinks can create.
And he has some stats to back this up.
He does. Pretty compelling ones. He says something like 67%, two-thirds of customers actually pick a restaurant based at least partly on the drink menu.
Wow. So more than half are thinking about drinks when they choose.
Yeah. And then there's the money side. Maurice notes that if you manage your bar area well, you could potentially increase the average check by like 40%.
40%, just from better drink service and selection.
That's what his insights suggest. And maybe the most important bit for staying power. He highlights that places with a good drink focus tend to have 3 times more loyal customers.
3 times. In this market, loyalty is everything.
It's gold, pure gold.
Okay, so beverages definitely pull people in, but it's not just about attraction. It's about the experience once they're there. Maurice talks about a domino effect of happiness. What's that about?
It's this chain reaction he describes. Imagine you get a perfectly made, perfectly served drink. Right away, you feel kind of welcomed, valued. So Maurice observes, when you feel good, you relax. Maybe you stay a bit longer. You're probably more likely to order more food, too.
Makes sense.
And then that good feeling doesn't just stop when you leave. You tell your friends, hey, you should check this place out. You come back yourself. Maybe you bring those friends next time. See, dominoes.
It's a great cycle, and it all hinges on that initial drink being right. So let's get practical. What does perfectly served actually mean, according to Maurice? He mentions the science of the perfect temperature.
Yeah, he really drills down on this. It's not just hot or cold. Temperature, he argues, massively impacts your reputation. Get it wrong, and the drink just isn't enjoyable.
Are there specific numbers we should aim for?
Yes, he gives some clear guidelines. For hot drinks, coffee, ideally 65 to 70 degrees Celsius. Tea, it varies a bit, maybe 70 to 80 degrees, depending on the type, green versus black. Hot chocolate, maybe a bit cooler, 60 to 65.
Okay, useful benchmarks. What about the cold side? Beer, wine, sodas.
Right, so for cold stuff, Maurice recommends beer between 4 and 6 degrees Celsius. You want it chilled, but not so cold you kill the flavor.
Right.
White wine, generally 8 to 12 degrees, lets the aroma and taste come through. And sodas, nice and crisp, so pretty cold, 3 to 5 degrees. These aren't just random numbers, they're about optimal taste.
Temperature check. Now, Maurice also talks about the art of the perfect glass. I admit, sometimes I just think a glass is a glass.
Huh. Well, Maurice would definitely challenge that. He argues the right glass is crucial. It affects presentation, sure, but also the actual enjoyment.
How so?
Take red wine. He explains a big, round balloon glass lets the wine breathe, opens up the aromas, makes it taste better.
Okay, I see.
Champagne needs a tall, thin flute to keep those bubbles going longer. Different beers often have specific glasses, like a mug or tulip shape, that help with the head or the smell. Even coffee, he says, stays hotter longer in a good, thick porcelain cup.
Right, makes sense for heat retention.
Hmm.
He mentions a bar that froze beer mugs.
Yeah, a neat little anecdote. They froze them down to -2 Celsius. Apparently, customers loved it. Became a real talking point.
It's those little things. And he suggests investing in good glassware isn't just an expense, it can actually boost profits. He mentioned a Parisian bar.
That's right. They upgraded their glassware, focused on presentation for cocktails, and saw their profit margin increase. It shows customers often notice and, frankly, appreciate that extra quality. It adds perceived value.
It's not just about function, it's about the whole perception.
Exactly. Perception is huge.
Okay, moving on to something maybe less glamorous, but critical. Cleanliness. Maurice is pretty blunt about this, isn't he? A dirty glass is a major red flag.
Oh, absolutely non-negotiable in his book. He says serving in a dirty glass is like having dirty bathrooms. It just screams poor hygiene overall. It undermines everything else you do.
So what are the must-dos for glass hygiene?
He lays out some clear rules. 1, check every glass against the light before using it, spotless. 2, change your rinse water often, he suggests, every couple of hours. 3, use clean drying cloths and change those hourly. 4, store glasses upside down away from dust in a clean area.
Seems straightforward, but easy to let slip during a busy service, I imagine.
Very easy, but the cost of slipping up is huge. Marie cites some pretty stark figures. Something like 73% of customers say they'd never go back if they got a dirty glass.
Wow, almost 3/4.
And it gets worse. Nearly 90% of those people will tell others about that bad experience. Think about that negative word of mouth.
Ouch. That's damaging. One dirty glass could lose you dozens of potential customers.
Exactly. It's a small detail with potentially massive consequences.
All right, so temperature, glassware, cleanliness. Now Maurice talks about the human touch. He calls it service, theater, and performance. I like that metaphor.
Me too. It frames serving not just as a task, but as an interaction, a moment. The server is the actor, the customer is the audience.
So what makes a good performance in this context?
It's often the small things, the gestures. Maurice highlights things like, hold the glass by the stem or the base, not where the customer drinks from. Make eye contact when you serve. Use a nice coaster. Wipe up any spills immediately. It all signals care and professionalism.
It's about showing respect for the drink and the customer.
Precisely. He mentions coffee shops that really make a show of preparing espresso, warming the cup, maybe some latte art, serving it with a little biscuit.
And that gets shared online, right?
Yeah. It creates buzz. It turns a simple coffee into an event, something worth talking about, worth photographing. It makes the customer feel special.
Okay, let's peek behind the scenes now. Stock management. Maurice calls it managing stocks like a pro. Customers don't see this, but it sounds crucial.
Absolutely critical for smooth service. Nothing worse than running out of a popular beer on a Friday night or having no ice.
Or serving something past its date.
Exactly. So Maurice shares some pro tips. Keep a close eye on what's selling fast your stock rotation. Prepare enough ice in advance. He gives a rough figure, maybe 20 kilos per 100 customers daily.
That's a lot of ice.
It is, but crucial. Also, keep popular wines chilled, maybe 3 bottles ready to go. And importantly, check those expiration dates weekly on everything: syrups, juices, mixers.
He tells that story about the place running out of ice on a Saturday.
Yeah, cautionary tale. Busy night, no ice. Cue unhappy customers, lost drink sales. Completely avoidable with a bit of planning.
It really hammers home the need for that backstage organization.
It's the foundation for good service, really.
So beyond getting the basics right, Maurice encourages restaurants to find ways to stand out right, creating a difference that matters.
Exactly. This is where you inject some personality, some creativity. Find those little unique touches that make people go, oh, that's cool.
What kind of ideas does he suggest?
He gives a few examples he's seen work. Things like serving juices in quirky vintage jars instead of standard glasses, using colorful ice cubes in mocktails, or offering a tiny complimentary snack with drinks in the afternoon, maybe developing your own house blend of tea or coffee. Using sustainable options like bamboo straws, small things that show extra thought.
And he mentioned a cocktail surprise of the day.
Yeah, another success story. This place introduced a daily surprise cocktail, marketed it a bit, and it apparently created loads of social media buzz, brought new people in wanting to try it. It adds an element of fun and discovery.
It makes visiting feel a bit more exciting.
Definitely. It gives people a reason to come back just to see what's new.
Now, a really serious topic Maurice addresses is responsibility, especially with alcohol.
Hmm.
Protect your customers.
Hugely important. He stresses that serving alcohol isn't just about pouring drinks, it's a big responsibility for customer safety and well-being.
So what are the key practices here?
Well, first, always offer appealing non-alcoholic options. Don't make them an afterthought. Maybe implement a designated driver program, offer them free sodas or something.
That's a great idea.
Crucially, train your staff. Train them to spot signs of intoxication and how to handle it professionally and discreetly. And always have food or snacks easily available. Alcohol on an empty stomach is never good.
You mentioned a pilot menu.
Yeah, an example of a designated driver program where the pilot gets discounts. It's smart, promotes safety, builds goodwill. It shows you care.
It really does. Okay, so who delivers all this? The team. Maurice obviously emphasizes training, the investment that pays off.
Your team is everything here. They're the face of your beverage service. So yes, training is vital. Maurice points out key areas. How to physically handle and serve each type of glass correctly.
Right, the basics.
Basic drink food pairing knowledge helps too. Knowing how to handle a complaint calmly and effectively turning it around. And importantly, sales techniques that aren't pushy but help enhance the customer's experience. Maybe suggesting a drink they'd enjoy.
He tells a story about a novice server improving after training.
Yes, a really nice example. This server was struggling, got some focused training, learned about the drinks, their stories, and apparently became a customer favorite because they could share that knowledge enthusiastically. Training empowers them.
It transforms the job from just carrying drinks to actually enhancing the experience.
Exactly. Confident, knowledgeable staff make a huge difference to how customers feel.
But even with training, mistakes happen. Maurice has a take on this. Managing mistakes, like a chef. He thinks fixing errors well can actually build loyalty.
It's an interesting angle, isn't it? His point is how you fix a mistake can leave a stronger positive impression than if nothing went wrong at all. It shows you care.
So how do you do that? He has a method.
Yeah, he calls it the 3 R's. First, recognize the mistake quickly. Acknowledge it. Second, repair it. Fix the problem promptly. Maybe offer something complimentary. Make it right. Third, thank the customer for their patience or understanding.
Simple but effective. He shared an anecdote about a wrong drink order.
Right. Server messed up the order, immediately apologized, fixed it, and offered a free pastry. The customer was so impressed with the recovery, they came back later with friends.
So handling it well turned a negative into a reason to return.
Precisely. It shows humility and a real commitment to customer satisfaction.
Now, on the flip side, Maurice lists some definite no-nos, the mistakes that kill, his hall of shame.
Yeah, these are the common slip-ups that really signal carelessness and can ruin an otherwise good experience.
What's on the list?
Things like serving hot drinks in cold glasses or cold drinks in warm ones, using sad, wilted fruit for garnish. Ugh.
Yeah, that's bad.
Serving flat soda. Charging extra for a top-up of hot water for tea seems petty. And washing glasses right where customers are waiting. Not a good look.
Okay, those all sound pretty bad, but fixable.
Totally fixable. Maurice gives simple solutions. Warm the cups for hot drinks. Check your fruit garnish quality daily. Test the soda fountain before service. Offer the extra hot water for free, it costs pennies. Prepare clean glasses away from the front lines. It's about standard procedures.
Just building good habits into the routine.
Exactly. Consistency is the key to avoiding these pitfalls.
Finally, Maurice circles back to making things memorable. The little extras that make a difference. Because people remember feelings, right?
That's his core message. It's not just the drink, it's how you make the customer feel. These extras are about creating positive feelings and memories.
What kind of extras does he suggest?
Little touches, maybe personalized coasters with your logo. Serving beer in nicely frosted glasses, not frozen solid, just lightly frosted. Using really fresh, creative garnishes.
Nice.
Perhaps a little personalized note if someone's celebrating a birthday with their drink. Developing your own house-made syrups or unique tea blends, things that show extra effort and personality.
And that 5-star bar secret, the recipe cards.
Yeah, such a cool idea, including a little card with the history or recipe of the cocktail. It adds value, gives people something to talk about, makes the drink feel more special. It's about storytelling.
It makes the whole experience richer.
Definitely.
So, wrapping this all up, the big takeaway from Maurice is clear. Beverages aren't just liquid. They're emotional triggers, memory makers, silent ambassadors for your entire restaurant.
Absolutely. They punch way above their weight in terms of impact. And hopefully for restaurant owners listening, you feel you've gained some superpowers from Maurice's insights today.
Like what?
Well, understanding just how important drinks are, mastering things like temperature, knowing why the right glass matters, having the keys to service that people remember, and crucially, knowing how to turn those inevitable little errors into wins.
Okay, so armed with these superpowers, Maurice has a mission for everyone listening.
He does. A practical three-step plan. Step 1. This week, do a quick audit. Look at your beverage service honestly. Check temperatures, glass cleanliness. Are you using the right glasses?
Okay, step 1, audit.
Step 2. Next month, pick one thing from that audit, one area that needs work, and train your team specifically on that. Maybe it's glass handling, maybe it's temperature checks. Just focus on one improvement.
Step 2, targeted training.
And step 3, within 3 months, try creating your first signature drink. Something unique to you. Could be a cocktail, a mocktail, a special coffee, a house tea blend. Something that says, this is us.
Audit, train, create. I like it. Actionable steps.
It's designed to be achievable. Small steps towards a big difference.
And that final thought from Maurice really sticks with me. Success in this business isn't always about the grand gestures. It's often about getting all those small details consistently perfect.
That's the heart of it, the accumulation of perfectly executed small things. So here's to paying attention to those details and raising a perfectly served glass to your success.
Great stuff. Thanks for diving deep with us today.